Okay, and we are live. So first we have Mystic Mac with the fireworks. Sorry, I can't really join you guys. We'll watch later. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
And Tony Man asking, do you know why Ariel wears seashells? Oh gosh, she outgrew bee shells.
But okay. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb for 1 hour. Okay, so how was your Christmas?
It was all right. Pretty laid back day.
Same here. Just everyone. Well, when everybody's an adult, we're just all relaxing.
Yes.
Hey, JJMPB.
Yeah, it was pretty much the adults too. There's just the last round of grandkids, and there's only 3 left.
Hey,
Hey,
Slipknot
Slipknot.
fan in the house.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Sasha, Kara, chat.
Hey, Mystic Mac. Of everyone that's in here, have you guys seen New Year's Evil? Oh, Tony Man is calling us the Dark Phoenix and Scarlet Witch, which means we're very powerful. Those are two of the most powerful characters in Marvel.
That works for me. Yeah, I haven't rewatched this one in a long time.
Mm-hmm. JJMB says they have not. I wonder. Let me see if I'm able to share this time. Maybe I can play the trailer. Sometimes we have issues with trying to share on the app, but I'm going to try today.
Okay.
New Year's.
Okay. I need to watch it. I recently watched Christmas Evil and loved it. I like that one.
Yeah, I like Christmas Evil a lot too. That's the one where the guy worked at the toy factory, and when he was a child, he saw, I won't spoil it. He saw something that disturbed him, and so like throughout his life he's been obsessed with Christmas. And I love the ending of Christmas Evil because it really it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember enjoying that one. Oh, it was on another stream and they used the same thumbnail image. That movie is called New Year's Evil, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Silent Night, Deadly Night, and there's 2 of them. There's Silent Deadly Night and Silent Night.
I want to say there's 3 of them.
Yeah. What's the other one? It's Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Silent Night. One is with the killer Santa who grew up in an orphanage, and the other one is with this woman that inherits his house in the forest. And is it Silent Night, Evil Night? They both came out within like a year of each other.
Oh, okay. I've never seen New Year's Evil, but spoil away.
Okay. Cool. Oh, I think it's going to let me share. Okay, so.
Okay.
There it is. You just have to add it on the screen.
Let's see, where do I find that? I'm on mobile.
Is it displaying on the bottom? Is there not like another?
Let's see. All I have is mic, cam, guests, more.
Let me see. Am I able to? No, it doesn't let me select it. And no, only the presenter can select. God darn it.
Okay, I'm not sure how to do that from here.
Okay, so I guess we can't. Oh, old school. We'll do it old school with the phone. Old school, low tech way. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Oh, of course my computer wants to say low battery. Let's take care of that. Okay, now we're plugged in. All right, let me find the trailer for New Year's Evil. Put the volume up. Here we go.
My journey with my teeth started at a young age when I had teeth that would break. I had already spent a lot. One night, we're celebrating you.
Let's see. I'm not getting any sound.
Yeah, that's a whack costume, but no sound.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. I can't hear anything, and then Tony Man is saying, "No sound, Lady Sasha. Everyone find it and watch it yourself."
Ah, crap. Maybe it's too far from my microphone. Can you hear me speaking?
I can hear you.
Let me go into settings and check my microphone. Okay, audio. Yeah, it's going through testing, testing, testing. Yeah, I'm talking through the USB microphone and not the internal. And I was playing it on my phone, so the microphone should have picked it up.
Hmm.
Well, it was just mostly screaming and a guy saying, "I'm going to kill someone tonight." It wasn't really a lot of dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the trailer showed the majority of the high points from the film anyway.
Yeah.
Howdy, y'all. Hey, UFO.
Hey. Tony Man says, "Do it live. This fucking thing sucks." I know who he's
Yes.
quoting.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
he says, okay, you read that one about not seeing New Year's Evil, but spoil away. Yeah, Slipknot fan. Yes, it's called New Year's Evil. It's actually available on YouTube. If you check my community tab on my channel, I shared the link to the full movie. But it's also available on Pluto TV and Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
So it's available free a lot of places. It
Good
is
to
a
know.
fun slasher. The gore I didn't think was, I mean, there's not a lot there because he mostly
Yeah.
stabs people. But it is a fun movie because it's the phone calls that make it fun because he like calls every hour on the hour before New Year's
Hmm.
just to say that he's gonna kill somebody and the police are trying to find him and he's just I can't know what's funny. For the life of me, I can't remember what his motivation was. I
I don't
really
think he really said the
Yeah.
main.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was like a lot of slasher movies, there'll be a reveal that something happened to the slasher's sister, like in Prom Night,
Hmm.
or they're just crazy, like Michael Myers. Like he had no reason. He just is evil. That's his reason.
Yeah.
But it's one of the lesser. I think it's a little lesser known than other slasher movies, mostly because of its theme. Like how many New Year's horror movies there are? There's like two that I know of.
Bloody New Year. That's
Yeah,
the only
Bloody
other one I know of.
Yeah, that's the only other one I know is Bloody New Year and New Year's Evil. I
Yeah.
can't think of another one that had a New Year's theme in it.
Not that
I
I can
almost feel
think
like
of.
there's not a whole lot to talk about with New Year's Eve. Now that I think about it.
It's a pretty basic plot, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the deaths are very creative either. They're just mostly flashing stabbings.
Hmm. And not a lot of blood. It's kind of lackluster. The kills themselves are kind of lackluster, but the concept is kind of fun. I also thought that the killer's mask is kind of corny. Like it's not that memorable.
I thought it was Nixon.
Is that who it's supposed to be? I couldn't tell.
I'm not sure. I thought that's what it was.
It does kind of look like Nixon.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, when I came in watching it this second time, I for some reason I was thinking, oh yeah, the son's the killer, and then I forgot. No, that's later.
mm-hmm. Well, we could incorporate what our previous show was originally going to be into this show, and that will give us more to talk about. We initially were going to do this show maybe 2 weeks ago, and we were going to talk about Christmas horror and the different Christmas horror movies that we've seen in the past and also recently, because there's been a few that came out this year. So, what do you guys? Since most of the people in the chat haven't seen New Year's Evil, anyways, um, what Christmas horror movies, put in the chat what Christmas horror movies you really like or that you'd like us to discuss. Oh, Tony Man says not true. Myers went crazy because he had an abusive stepdad and didn't get to trick or treat because his sister was busy getting her freak on. Rob Zombie told me so. Yeah, I don't acknowledge I don't
That one.
acknowledge that Halloween series.
It does
That's
give an
not
answer
Halloween.
though.
That's Killer Hobo Man. It's not Halloween. I just called that. It's Rob Zombie's Killer Hobo Man.
I do like how it filled in some of the gaps though, like how it added to the mythos behind the mask and why he wears it.
Yeah, that part would have been cool, but I think the scariest part about Michael Myers was because he came from what from the outside looks like such an idyllic nuclear family in a middle class home. Like when his parents come home, that's what makes it scarier is that this this child really didn't have a reason to be evil. He just was. But
Hmm.
I always thought that they could have tied it into Halloween 3. When they introduced all that the Thorn cult and the silver shamrock masks, why
Hmm.
didn't they just write into the story that the clown mask that Michael Myers had was a silver shamrock prototype and the mask made him crazy? Like why not do that?
It could have worked, yeah.
Yeah. Even with the new Halloween, I'm sorry I'm getting off on a tangent, but even when Halloween ends, when Corey puts on the clown mask, they could have tied it back to that first mask and Halloween and back to the silver shamrock mask, and that it drove Corey, or they could have found out that certain children have a certain predisposition to being
Hmm.
affected by these masks, where other children are not. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't that hard of a story to write. I don't know why they just had Michael Myers in the sewer. I'm sorry when I think about it. Oh, JJMPB says A Christmas Horror Story. I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Some of it was really creepy, especially the story about the changeling. That little
Yeah.
changeling kid was very, very creepy. I like that William Shatner narrated it.
Hmm.
I would love to play the trailer for it, but since we're having audio issues, maybe I can try again. Let me move. I'm going to move the microphone up here.
Yeah, I think we had collaborated on that one year also, as I invited people to talk about their favorite segment from
Hmm.
Christmas Horror Story, and you did the changeling.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was, and the thing about it was a story that you would think people would use more frequently because there only have been a few changeling horror movies. I just remember A Hole in the Ground. That was a pretty good changeling horror movie. Recently there was an Apple TV series called The Changeling, but I thought it was like good and bad.
Hmm.
It was good in that Lakeith Stanfield starred in it. And he's an excellent actor. I love everything that he does. And there were some really creepy elements when it started, like the first 2 to 3 episodes, but then the show fizzled out so badly. And it almost felt like they ran out of story, but it doesn't make sense because it comes from a book. And typically things that come from a book usually have more story. So I
Hmm.
don't know, maybe there were things in a book that they didn't think were appropriate for television. Maybe that's why it fizzled out that way, or maybe the pacing wasn't good enough to, because I'm sure they left the story kind of unfinished. So I'm assuming they're planning to have a season 2. But I find this issue pops up with a lot of Apple TV series because I watched one. What was it called? It was about a nanny that was taking care of this baby that at first she was in charge of taking care of a doll, and then the doll became real. And I cannot remember the name of that series,
Hmm.
but it was also slow as molasses and fizzled out. And that one I didn't even finish. I finished the Changeling, but I did not finish that other Apple TV series. It was just too slow. Tony Man says, saw some I enjoyed this year, like There's Something in the Barn. I saw Rare Exports last year and enjoyed it, and I also like The Mean One. Yes, so let's talk about both. There's Something in a Barn and Rare Exports, which I think are both Norwegian. I could be mistaken. Rare Exports might have been Swedish, but I know There's Something in a Barn is Norwegian. And what's interesting is about it. Did you see it, Kara?
I haven't. The only one I saw was Rare Exports. The other two I'm not familiar with.
Okay, There's Something in a Barn is about this American family that moves to Norway, and there's something in their barn. And what I found out, the creature that's in their barn, they kind of wait, is it revealed in the trailer? Because I don't want to spoil it if it's not revealed. I'll say this: the creature that's in the barn does come from Norwegian mythology. Because I googled it as I was watching the movie, like, oh, is this a real thing that that is from folklore? And it is. So I had never heard of this particular creature before, but it was very interesting. I was watching Red Letter Media's review, and they pointed out so many similarities between There's Something in the Barn and Gremlins.
Hmm.
And like if you watch it, I think you guys will see it too. But it's a fun enough movie. Nothing scary in it to me. There's a little bit of gore, but not overwhelming. Not and no more than when the gremlin was in the blender, that type of thing. But yeah, it's that type of movie. I think it's probably, is it PG-13? It feels like it would be a PG-13. Let me see.
And then Tony says, yes, it was revealed in the trailer briefly.
Okay, so then I can say what it is. Okay, the creature in the barn is a barn elf, I think it's called, or was it a barn gnome? It's some type of little creature. It looks like a garden gnome. And there's similarities to gremlins in that there's rules for if you have one of these creatures, and if you break the rules, then all hell breaks loose, and that's what happens. That's what makes it similar to gremlins, amongst other things. And I thought it was just a fun enough movie, and I like that we got to see a little bit of Norway, because I believe it is filmed in Norway. I'll double check. Let me see. There's Something in the Barn. Scroll down and see. Was it filmed in Norway? Well, it says Norway and Finland, so parts of it were filmed in Finland. And then it's mostly in English, but there are a few parts that are in Norwegian, but it has subtitles for when the people are speaking Norwegian. That one's pretty interesting. What's the other one Tony Man said? Oh, Rare Exports. I meant to check to see if that was also Norwegian. I know it's definitely Scandinavian. And do you want to talk about that one, Kara?
I haven't seen it in a very long time. I barely remember the story.
I just remember it was a little boy, and he finds like a skinny man with a beard. And during at first the skinny man with the beard is creepy, and his father tries to clean him up like they think it's a homeless man. And they keep finding more and more of these skinny men with beards. And eventually they trained him and turned him into Santa Clauses. That's what I remember. But
Yeah.
I think there was also something about an evil corporation trying to take over some land.
I just
That's
remember there was like a giant Santa, and
yeah.
I think the bearded men were elves or something like that.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, this one was co-production between Finland, Norway, France, and Sweden.
Oh, okay.
but the language spoken in it is English and Finnish.
Hmm.
The synopsis reads: in the depths of the Corvatuntori, Corvatuntori Mountains, 486 meters deep, lies the closest ever guarded secret of Christmas. The time has come to dig it up. This Christmas, everyone will believe in Santa Claus. So that's pretty. Oh, here's a second description. On Christmas Eve in Finland, Santa Claus is unearthed in an archaeological dig. Soon after, children start disappearing, leading a boy and his father to capture Santa. And with the help of fellow hunters, they look to sell him back to the corporation that sponsored the dig. And then there's Santa's elves, who are determined to free their leader. Okay. But the elves look just like Santa's too. They all look the same, except for size difference. And then the mean one, Tony Man brought up. I'm thinking, since nobody else had mentioned it just yet, and I'm going to get to the other comments, so just bear with me. We'll try this again and see if we can play the trailer for the mean one. Which the mean one is directed by the same what's his name? Damien. His last name is escaping me. The guy that directed Terrifier, and also the creature in the mean one is played by the same actor who plays Terrifier. So we'll try this again. I'm gonna move the see if we can get the sound on here. I know I'll put this here just in case. All right.
Remember that story about Cindy, you know? When her parents were stolen, she but what I said, that's not how it went down. Poor girl, was killed. Never gonna rely on the description.
Okay, JJ was saying Damien Leone or Leone.
Go through another Christmas killer thing. Not again.
Us folks down in Louisville, we like Christmas live. It's just north of Louisville. It's not.
What is it?
The big one that restaurant.
Time to roast this beast.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the Damiens. JJMP said Damien Leone. There's another Damien that directed. Stop. That directed When Evil Lurks. That's another Damien. And then there was a third Damien that directed something in horror this year. I can't remember which one it is. But Mystic Max said Lakeith Stanfield is a great actor. He was one of my favorite characters in the show Atlanta, which I agree with that. Tonyman says, have you watched Monarch, Legacy of Monsters? I
I
have not.
skipped that one.
I haven't watched that one. I keep seeing still pictures from it though on Twitter. It looks pretty interesting. I think that's also an Apple TV show, isn't it?
I want to say it is. I haven't heard anything about it.
Tonyman says Kara must have gotten new shoes for Christmas. I hear her walking around.
Yeah. I clicked on that one too early. No, I didn't know you guys could hear me. I'm just pacing.
That's all right. Whatever releases the tension. Missing Max says Terrifier 2 was quite the experience. Oh yeah, especially the salt scene. I call it the salt scene. That was pretty wild. He actually literally put salt in someone's wounds.
Oh.
But I didn't like the ending of Terrifier. I was like, the whole thing with the mystical sword. I was like, where are we going with this?
No, that's another one I haven't checked out. I haven't seen the original, the first one or the second one.
And for some reason, Damien Leone's final girls are never memorable to me. I can't remember their names. In the first Terrifier, I couldn't tell the 3 girls apart. There was like 3 women in it, and they all look so similar to me, I could not tell them apart, so it was a little bit confusing watching the movie. And
Mm.
then in part 2, the final girl looks just like the other 3 women, so, like, we get it, you have a type, but you need to make your characters look a little bit more distinct from each other. Like, for example, Tina looks nothing like Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. You can tell them apart
Yeah,
immediately.
very
And
different.
another one that would be even harder to do is all the Friday 13th movies with the amount of characters that they have to cast, and you can still tell them apart. So you gotta be a little bit more like, even if you have a type, make one of them color their hair red or something so we can tell them apart. Just like copy and paste it and give and write, or maybe hire a co-writer to flesh out the character so that we give half a damn about the final girl, because I really didn't care about none of the I don't care about your characters, and that's not, I feel like that's an element that needs to be there. Like, we kind of rooted for Sydney in Scream. We
Hmm.
kind of, that your final girl has to have something that makes people identify with her and want her to survive. And I don't think his final girls have a personality. Maybe that's what it is. They're lacking a personality. Let's see. Tony Man says it is the Monarch LOM. It involves Godzilla and all those monsters. I'm only 3 episodes in. What is LOM? And Mystic Max says Art the Clown made an appearance in all. Yes, he was first featured in All Hallows Eve in a short. I like the short a lot. That's why a lot of people, including myself, were looking forward to Terrifier, because we thought, oh my god, this character is a great character design. I still believe that. I think Art the Clown has the makings of a horror icon, but it's just some of the writing that needs to be improved. I think Damien Leone, he gives me a person who's really more of a special effects supervisor than a director. And he's really great at that. He's great at the special effects supervision. Or I wouldn't even say he's a bad director. I would say the writing. Get a separate writer, because a lot of these they're written and directed by Damien Leone. And some
Oh.
people can't do both. Some people are not, I shouldn't say can't, because there's always room for growth. People can always get better at what they're doing.
Hmm.
But I'm saying for the next Terrifier, maybe get a co-writer that can help him flesh out the characters just a little bit better. And it'll free you up to do more effects stuff, because that's your thing. Your effects are amazing. Tony says, I still don't understand the magical sword in Terrifier 2. And LOM, Legacy of Monsters. Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
the
okay.
abbreviation. Okay. Speaking of monsters, I did recently see Godzilla -1, and I think it's the only Godzilla movie that it made me feel like crying.
Oh,
Speaking
wow.
of character development. Did you see it?
I thought you were going to say there was something about the story that really got you.
Oh no, I mean it really did. The way the Godzilla -1 is the opposite of what I was saying about Damien Leone's writing of characters. In Godzilla -1, you really do care about the characters as Godzilla's coming. Like the writer or writers, I don't know if there's more than one, really flesh out the characters, and you see their background, their motivations, the things that they've recently went through that they're trying to overcome. And then they introduce the they introduce the monster at the very beginning, so you know what the stakes are. And then they go into a really detailed character study, which is almost like a drama. Well, not almost, it is a drama. It's a very emotional drama with a monster movie put into it. And I really, the only thing I can compare it to as of late would be like something like Leave the World Behind or Parasite, where there's a lot of dialogue and emotional turmoil that the characters are going through. And then also there's a monster they have to deal with. So I think this is one of the best Godzilla movies I've ever seen for that reason. Because the last one that I saw with Millie Bobby Brown, I didn't care about her. I didn't care about, even though I like, I think his name is it Brian Tyree? Don't remember what his last name is, but he's also from Atlanta. Great actor. He was really good in Us, but him and Millie Bobby Brown running around, I didn't care about. Like, there's nothing. You didn't build them up for me to give a damn about who they are or what they're going through. Whereas in Godzilla minus one, those characters are really, really built up. And you really, really care about them, and you want to see them be able to survive Godzilla. And then also, this Godzilla was creepy and scary. Like, this Godzilla gives zero fucks. Like, fuck your train, fuck this building over here, fuck these people, I'm gonna step on them. Like, Godzilla was really an asshole. Like, there was nothing likable about Godzilla at all in this one, and um more devastating. Like, the way the effects were done for, like, when he shoots that beam of, like, I guess I don't want to call it, well, it probably is radioactive. My first thing is to say is radiation, but it's more like a blue hot fire that he spits out. But the way his body prepares for it, where, like, his oh, I forgot what you call those things on a dinosaur's back. When they turn blue and they start kind of popping out of his back, it was really, really well done. And for what I'm understanding, I think the budget was only $80 million for this. So it's amazing what they were able to do with that. It's also, when you think about it, it's also a disaster film too. So it's kind of like watching something like Earthquake or Deep Impact or Dante's Peak, because of the devastation that Godzilla leaves in their path, basically. Let me see. Mystic Man says, I need to see Mystic Mac. Sorry. Says, I need to see Godzilla minus one. Yes, I think you will love it. Oh, one other thing about it. There's a lot of callbacks to the 1954 Godzilla. So if you're familiar with the 1954 Godzilla, you will enjoy Godzilla minus one a little bit better. And then there's another one that there was callbacks to. Tony Man, can you put in the chat? Because he told me about the other Godzilla movie, and I watched it recently, that also has callbacks. It's from either 2000 or 2001. It's another Japanese Godzilla movie that Godzilla one minus one references. Missy Max says, I actually like Leave the World Behind. I enjoyed it too. I think Kara, did you get to see Leave the World Behind?
No, if it's anything recent, I haven't been keeping up with anything.
Okay, it's on Netflix. It stars Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, Kevin Bacon makes an appearance in it. I don't remember the names of the younger actors. There's a college girl that's a character, and there's two teenagers, but I don't remember those actors' names. But the college girl was recently in Bodies, 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 and she was in an episode of Black Mirror, the one about the boy that was making a documentary in his hometown, and he ended up finding out about a murder that was very close to him. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I like her. I like her so far, the young lady. But Leave the World Behind, very, very good movie. Another one that is very character driven, very heavy in dialogue, but the dialogue keeps you entertained. It's not boring. But it is emotionally taxing because of the subject matter, because it has to do with an apocalyptic event or semi-apocalyptic elliptic event. It depends on how you feel about it, but it's a very, very interesting movie. Very, very well made. And oh, the other thing that was very interesting, it's executive produced by Barack and Michelle Obama, which I found very, very interesting, especially since one of the themes of the movie was Mahershala Ali's character says the best anyone can hope for is to be forewarned. So the back of my mind is like, is this Barack and Michelle trying to warn us? I don't know. The conspiracy theorist in me made me start thinking like that. Okay. Tony Man says, if Millie isn't crying, I'm not watching it. I love her crying so much. Sarcasm. Yeah, she does cry a lot in her movies and TV shows. JJMP says, Godzilla looked magenta in the trailer. It didn't look magenta in the film. Well, I saw it in a 4DX theater here in Orlando. For those that don't know, 4DX has, the seats that move, and then also there's other elements, like if it's splashing water, they actually shoot water at you. If you're by fire, it shoots heat at you. If you're in the Arctic, it shoots cold air, and sometimes the snow will come down from the top of the theater. It's a whole experience. It's pretty cool. It's very, very cool. If you want to see it, just go on YouTube and look up 4DX theaters, and there's a lot of videos of people inside of them because people like, take out their cell phones and record. One of the things that was really fun in 4DX theater was the flight scenes, because there's a character that's a pilot, and when his scenes are happening, the seats move as if you're on the plane with him.
Motion detected at the front door.
Mystic Max says, I agree with you, Shasha, about King of the Monsters. LOL. I really wanted to like that movie. Tony Man says it was Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, Monsters All Out Attack. Yes, that's the one. Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, Monsters All Out Attack. Godzilla -1 references that movie. And what's funny is when I was watching that movie, it referenced the Godzilla 1998 with Matthew Broderick, because they're having a meeting in a room, and one of the characters says, yeah, and it happened in New York too. I just thought that was kind of funny. Tony Man says, at JJM, that's the Hollywood one. The one with Kong looks bad, really bad. And Slipknot fan wrote Gojira, and also wrote it in Japanese characters. Very cool. Or I should say simplified Japanese characters. I've just recently learned that there's 2 different versions. There's Japanese, the traditional Japanese, and then there's simplified Japanese. So I haven't learned to read them yet, but at least I know there's a difference now. And now, after all these years, I can tell the difference between the Japanese characters, Korean Hangul characters, and Chinese characters. So when I was a kid, I couldn't tell the difference. It was all like the same to me. I don't know. Well, I know what it was. It was lack of exposure. Being from small town USA, you don't have a whole lot of exposure to different things. But now, post internet, you have exposure to so many things. Kanji, hiragana, katakana, the 3 writing systems of Japanese. Thank you. So there's 3. See, I only thought there was 2. Thank you for correcting me, Slipknot fan. So kanji, hiragana, and katakana. Very, very cool.
Yeah, all of that.
That reminds me of, do you remember when Ariana Grande she thought that she got something Japanese written on her hand for a tattoo, and it turned out it just said barbecue? I'll never forget that news story.
No, that probably was not a fun reveal at all.
There was another movie you had talked to me about. Was it a Christmas movie, Kara? You messaged me about a movie that you recently saw. I can't remember what it was. Let me look in the messages. It wasn't there something
back of them.
My memory is so bad. It's like embarrassing. I keep thinking, what am I going to be like when I'm 70 if I'm this bad now?
Oh gosh.
Hopefully by that time I'll have like a AI android to remind me of stuff.
No, it just makes me think, how bad off am I going to be? I don't even look forward to aging.
Yeah. Go back. It was It's a Wonderful Knife.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about that one. I know there was like a lot of hype about it when it was first announced, and I thought it was pretty blah.
Yeah, it was just okay to me. I just felt like it was all right. I'm glad that I saw it on Amazon Prime and I didn't pay for it, because if I went to the movies to see it, I probably would have been more disappointed. But for something just, on Amazon Prime, I thought it passed the time. It was okay. I saw the little homages to Scream. I thought Justin Long was decent as the weird, what was he supposed to be, the mayor?
The
He was supposed
mayor
to be a
something.
mayor. Yeah.
I think he could have been a lot more hateable, though. He could have really been a lot meaner.
And then I didn't understand why, like the one girl that they kept calling weirdo, why did she keep showing up to their parties? Because I'm just thinking back to myself as a teenager. If people made fun of me and called me weirdo, I wouldn't go to their parties. I'm like,
neither would I.
She's just standing in the corner of the party letting people roast her. I'm like, this is weird. Why did you show up? I would not have gone. But
Maybe that's why she is weirdo.
yeah, yeah.
But then there's the adults who shouldn't even know the high school aged people, and they call her weirdo also.
Yeah, and that's mean. Like as an adult, you're supposed to set a better example. I wouldn't do that to kids. I feel like that's messed up when adults take part in childishness. Tonyman says, remember to take your ginkgo biloba. I did take it last night. I've
Yes.
incorporated that into my vitamins. I have now the biotin, my iron supplement, the ginkgo biloba, vitamin C, and I feel like there's another one I take. Oh, green tea extract. It's supposed to be good for
Oh,
energy.
I
So
love green
far,
tea.
hmm?
I love green tea.
Yes, it's very, very good. And there's not a bad come down from it. Like if when it gives you energy, not like how coffee can give you energy and then you come down, you feel really drowsy. But I think I'm
Oh,
hopefully that this I finally found the right combination of vitamins to manage my anemia. So
oh,
far, so
okay.
good. I've been able to manage it better because there are times I have to tell you that my anemia can be so bad that I can't stand up for 20 minutes,
Oh,
and
wow.
that sucks. So I'm hopeful that I finally found the right amounts of things to keep my blood the way it needs to be so I can function. Um, it also affects my hair because when my anemia gets bad, my hair thins out and starts breaking off and stuff. It sucks. But what we were saying, yeah, it's a wonderful knife. I'm gonna refer to Red Letter Media again because I was watching their review and they were talking about how the person that wrote It's a Wonderful Life, It's a Wonderful Knife. I believe they were also involved in Happy Death Day, and their production company was also involved in Freaky. And the things they mention how all three of these movies have something in common, and that Freaky is Freaky Friday, but with a slasher angle. Happy Death Day is Groundhog's Day with a slasher angle. And It's a Wonderful Knife shares a lot of similarities to Back to the Future 2,
Hmm.
but with a slasher angle. And then there was another one recently. What was it called? Where the girl went back to the 80s to try to save her mom's
Oh,
friends from being killed by slashers.
that sounds
What
vaguely familiar.
It was also on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
What was that called?
Totally
But
Killer? Was that
yes,
it?
Totally Killer. Yeah. It's the same production company and group of writers and directors making these movies that they're just kind of let's take something from the 80s but make it a slasher. So I didn't know that until Red Letter Media pointed it out. So yeah, It's a Wonderful Life is with that collection. Tony Man says black tea is like green tea on steroids. Every time I drink it, I got the shakes. Oh yeah, black tea can be very, very high in caffeine. Another one is jasmine tea, can be very, very high in
Oh,
caffeine and give you a
I
lot of
love.
energy. hmm I love the taste of jasmine tea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Slipknot fan says, I became interested in learning Japanese after seeing the Japanese adaptation of The Ring, which aired in 1995. It's available on YouTube, the aired version with adverts, and the uncut disc version. Oh, thank you for letting me know because I wanted to see that version. I've only seen the remake Japanese version, but not the original TV version of The Ring. So I'm glad. Let me make a
Hmm.
note of that. You know what? I'll put it in my. I know I have some post-it somewhere on here. Hang on. Post-it and pen. There we go. Hey, sorry about that. I have to reach behind the camera to get post-it and a pen so I can write down that the 1995 Ring is on YouTube. And I love that the commercials are included. Thank you again, Slipknot fan. They also say if you like The Ring, I highly recommend it. It's really good. It's way different to the theatrical versions. Very
Hmm.
cool. I noticed when I did my countdown. I don't know if you saw my countdown video of I think I put it was the 12 scariest women or femme monsters in horror, and I put Sadako as one. And when I was talking about Sadako, I I don't know whether it's Sadako or Sadako. But I put the different posters up, and I included the poster from the 1995. Well, one of the posters, because there's more than one poster from the 1995 TV movie, and even the poster is very different from the theatrical posters.
Hmm.
There was another one. You talked about "To All a Good Night," which I believe is also from 1980. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if you guys are
wasn't.
familiar.
I wanted to like that one just because I hear everybody talk about it so much, and I kind of thought it was kind of eh.
It is. It. I think the reason why it's lesser known is because it's not as good as the other Christmas horror movies. But
Mm-hmm.
if you like 80s nostalgia, you'll really enjoy it because it's very, very 80s. It's very. I think it's came out in either 1980 or 1981. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about this sorority house that gets attacked by a killer Santa, but there's like, there's a reveal at the end for what Santa's motivation is, and it's kind of similar to the motivation from Prom Night. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it that way. I For some reason I can't remember any of the kills. So that tells me
No.
right there that it didn't stand out.
All I
um
remember is the goody two shoes girl that stayed behind, and the rest of the story is like, okay.
mhm. Slipknot fan says the Japanese commercials were great. You really get the feel of 90s Japan.
Hmm.
Have you seen the Japanese commercials that Janet Jackson did for cell phones? Someone was reposting those on TikTok, and they're great. I love seeing those. And there's also a ramen noodle commercial that James Brown did in Japan. If you can find those commercials, they're amazing. I love watching Americans do their best Japanese commercials. It's wow. Bronson White Wolf says, "Have you seen It's a Wonderful Knife?" Yes, we were just talking about. Welcome to the stream. We were just talking about It's a Wonderful Knife, but we will go over it a little bit again since you just joined us. We said that it was okay. It wasn't the best. It had, for me, I saw a lot of homages to Scream, or maybe they were inspired a lot by Scream. And we thought that Justin Long could have gone a little bit further and been just a little bit more evil, because he wasn't super evil. He was just
Kind of
kind of
like Mr.
funny.
Nice Guy still.
Yeah. I think he should have went like full Biff Tannen evil, like that type of thing. But yeah, it was just okay. And we talked about the girl being called weirdo and how the adults should not have joined in on that, and how if we were in her place, we would not have gone to parties where people called us weirdo. We would have stayed home. Um, I do like how the other girl became her friend, or possibly more than a friend. I
Yeah,
feel like it's implied that they are girlfriends
I
towards
think
the
so.
end. Yeah. Um Slipknot fan says, I saw Japanese adverts of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tommy Lee Jones for noodles and coffee. LOL. Yeah. Those ads are great. I don't know why they don't do that in America. People take themselves too seriously in America. Do that stuff here.
I don't know. I find a lot of American commercials, they're very childish. Like they're trying
Yeah.
to advertise to a child, but we're adults.
Mhm.
And
But
it's
not
kind
in
of
a
like, are
fun
you going to
way.
sell me this thing or not?
Like, you could be playful. Let me see if I can find that Janet Jackson ad, because now it's on my mind. I'm gonna go to TikTok and find Japanese Let me see. And it's the James Brown one. Janet
Oh, Tony Man was
Jackson.
saying about Wonderful Knife. What about the killer's outfit? I like it, but how did he see it? I had that same question.
Yeah,
How did he
yeah.
see
You
through
do
that?
have to wonder, like, how did he see? Okay, I'm gonna move the mic again. See if we can hear this. And let me see if I can find the James Brown one. Ah, here it is. That's what I want to see on American TV. If I have to watch ads, that's the type of ads I want to see. And I made a mistake. It wasn't ramen. It was miso soup. Okay. Bronson White Wolf says, "What are your thoughts on Silent Night, Deadly Night? Also, what are your thoughts on That's the other one. Thank you, Bronson. We were talking about that earlier. That there were two movies, and we said Silent Night, Deadly Night, but we couldn't remember the other Silent Night one. And it was I kept on saying, was it Silent Night, Evil Night? And it's Silent Night, Bloody Night. Yes, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I really enjoy because of the backstory of the killer Santa being in the orphanage, and also the creepy scene when they took him to, before he was orphaned, when they took him to see his grandfather, who was super creepy. Like, there's so many elements of this movie. The kills are see, remember how I just said how in So All a Good Night I couldn't remember any of the kills, but in Silent Night, Deadly Night, I remember the antler kill, which I think was that Linnea Quigley. That I want to say it was Linnea Quigley that got hung up on antlers, and then someone got decapitated while sledding too. That was Silent Night, Deadly Night. So yes, that's, to me, that's what makes a slasher movie iconic, when you can remember the kills. You watch a slasher movie, you can't remember the kills. It's no. Now Silent Night, Bloody Night is more of a mystery thriller, in that how do I describe it? It's kind of slashery, but it's a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, like more highbrow, if that makes sense. Because I just keep thinking of the girl walking through the forest with her turtleneck on, and she's narrating what's going on. But then you have the opening with the man running out of the house on fire, which kind of, you think it's going to set the tone, but then the movie quiets back down after that. And then there's a man that comes to, it's been a long time, so I'm trying to remember Silent Night, Bloody Night. There's a man that comes to the house from the city. I think he is overseeing the paperwork for the transfer of ownership to the granddaughter, either daughter or granddaughter of the person, the original owner of that home. But there's some type of secret that they have to uncover, and I can't remember what the secret was. But I will say this, Silent Night, Bloody Night, even though I believe it came out in 1980, it feels very 70s. It still feels very, very 70s. Whereas Silent Night, Deadly Night feels very 80s. But I definitely, I recommend both. If you want something that's a little bit more over the top slashery, Silent Night, Deadly Night. If you want something that's a little bit more subtle, I guess that's the way I would describe it, I would go for Silent Night, Bloody Night. But both, I enjoy both movies. Slipknot fans. Oh, I'm sorry. Kara, did you have something to add?
No, the Bloody Night and same with Silent Night. I haven't seen them in. I don't think I've seen either of those two, so I really don't have anything I can add to that.
Oh, okay. So now you just gave me an excuse to play trailers. That will see. We know they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I think because I was stumbling over my words to try to describe Silent Night, Bloody Night, the feel of it. So if I show the trailers, you'll be able to see the tonal difference.
Bronson Wright Wolf was saying Silent Night, Violent Night would be a great title for a Christmas horror movie. What do you both think?
I think there is a horror movie called Violent Night.
Yes, I saw that one recently.
Mm-hmm.
That one was fun.
Okay, I got an ad. Let's move this back over.
Huh.
And that's TriStar. All right, now let me show you Silent Night, Bloody Night.
Oh, Tony Man was asking, did anyone see John Woo's Silent Night?
Yes, I will come back to that. Let me play this trailer, and we'll come back to John Woo's Silent Night. Here is. All right, this one. It's not going to be HD.
The whole was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was there. Starring Patrick O'Neill, Street Head. I want your ID. Some maniac escaped from Margaretville. Also, the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was left. Silent night.
Yeah, so you could see how one tonally, like Silent Night, Bloody Night. Oh, no wonder. Silent Night, Bloody Night's not from the 80s. It's from 1972. Why did I think it came out in 1980? So it didn't feel 70s. It was 70s. Correction. Okay. Regarding John Woo's Silent Night, that one is it considered horror, or I feel like it's more action. It's more of a revenge picture. It's literally a revenge picture. It falls in line with Death Wish. That movie where Kevin Bacon lost his son at the gas station. I can't remember the title of that. Was that a remake of Death Wish? I don't know if that was a remake of Death Wish or was it its own thing. But I remember there was a movie with Kevin Bacon's son got killed at a gas station, and he went out for revenge. Same type of movie. It's a revenge action thriller where a character loses their child to gun violence, and they go on a revenge spree. And it's pretty. I mean, as John Woo movies are, it's pretty entertaining. A lot of action. A few you can't do those things, but you know what? I've watched so many Fast and Furious movies that I can forgive things that are not necessarily realistic, as long as it's entertaining. Like if I know you can't do this in real life, and I'm okay with it. I'm fine. But it definitely, if you want an action movie. Oh, also, I don't think there was any dialogue in the whole movie. It's called Silent Night for a reason. Like there really isn't dialogue. Like you can literally turn the audio off and play whatever music you want to listen to and watch the movie. Tony Man says the Kevin Bacon was called Death Sentence, written by the dudes who made Saw. Okay, yeah. But Death Sentence is definitely a Death Wish type movie, and so is Silent Night. You read that one. It says, well, Bronson said Silent Night, Violent Night would be a great television Christmas movie. What do you both think? I agree. Bronson
There was also Tony Man asking, did anyone see that robot killer Santa movie?
Yeah. I did see that. What was it called? I didn't like the characters in it. Let me find out what the name of that movie was.
That one
Horror
doesn't
movie
ring a
with a
bell.
killer robot Santa.
Christmas Bloody Christmas is a 2022 movie directed by Joe Begos, starring Riley Dandy,
Oh
Dora
yes, I saw
Matheson,
that
Yeah.
and
recently.
Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Yeah, Christmas Bloody Christmas. I thought the characters were super annoying. I feel like they were
Yes.
they talked for too long and too much. It's like if you gave Tarantino like even more time to write, but not as interesting as how Tarantino writes his characters.
I mean, I liked the action, but yeah, the characters I wasn't too crazy about. I mean, the language didn't bother me, but it's
No.
really it's like whatever they're babbling about, what's the point?
Yeah, it felt like someone who was trying to write dialogue for small town people who's not from a small town.
Mm.
Like, it's like what they think that we sound like, those of us that come from small towns. It's like, I can tell you're from LA. Something about this dialogue says you're from LA and this is how you think that we speak. No, it's not. Bronson said listen and silent and listen are both spelled with the same exact letters. Very interesting
Oh,
point.
there it is. Yeah.
And Bronson also says Black Christmas is Steve Martin's favorite horror movie. Well, I could see why. The original Black Christmas, yes. Yes.
Mm.
And I love the certain. Is that me? Oh no, it's not me. Okay. Tony Man says I asked if Kara saw Thanksgiving. Oh, good question.
No, I haven't. I wanted to, but I still haven't had a chance to see it.
It's really good. It's a fun movie. It's basically he mostly did what was in his Thanksgiving trailer. There's a few things that he didn't go as far on, and I think that could be an MPAA thing,
Hmm.
where like you might have had those scenes in there, and they were like, "No, you're gonna get an X rating if you don't cut this back." So I wouldn't be surprised if a director's cut was available. Bron says Black Christmas was also Elvis Presley's favorite horror movie. The movie came out in 1974, and he passed away in 1977. His family watches it every Christmas in his honor. Oh, that's a really cool thing to know.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hmm. And I like how Black Christmas actually subverted a lot of horror cliches. Like for example, the cliche of the what I call the Madonna horror complex of horror movies. Where in Black Christmas, the girl who's pregnant out of wedlock is basically the
Oh yeah.
heroine, and the girl who's presented as virginal gets killed first. so so Black Christmas gave zero fucks about that convention. Um, I also love how Homeboy just had a fur coat for no reason. Well, I think a couple characters had fur coats. But where was it filmed? Because it kind of looked like Buffalo, New York. Let me see. Where was the original Black Christmas film? Because wherever it was filmed was very icy. And the campus where Black Christmas was filmed also reminds me of the campus from Happy Birthday to Me.
Hmm.
I don't know if they might just look similar because a lot of colleges in the Northeast look similar, but it looked the same to me. Or it actually could have been in Canada too, because they film a lot of these films in Canada because Canada and upstate New York look the same. Well, parts of Canada and upstate New York look the same. Let's see, where did they film Black Christmas? Canada. They called it. Yep. It doesn't say specifically. Let me go down and see if the filming locations. There we go. Toronto, Ontario, Grenadier Lake, Ontario, Harthouse University of Toronto. Yeah. Soldiers Tower, University of Toronto, Trinity College, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And what's funny is there's a Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, and it looks very similar to colleges. Well, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, all look very similar to Toronto, Canada, and also Vancouver. Vancouver doubles as New York all the time. That's why I always call Friday the 13th 7 Jason Takes Vancouver, because that's where it was filmed. Also, the last Scream, the Scream movie where Ghostface was in New York, was also in Vancouver. And Tony says, that was you, Lady Shasta. You set your alarm for 1 hour and you forgot. No, I didn't I didn't mean to set an alarm. I meant to set do not disturb. not an alarm. So maybe it was um the Echo Dot was listening to me. I can't say her name because you say her name, she starts talking to you. Um, Marty's here. He says, just back from me folks, but pimp tweet ahoy regardless. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great holiday, Marty, with your family. Give them our best. That's what I was going to talk about. You had also mentioned when we spoke over text, When Evil Lurks. And even though it's not
Yes,
necessarily a Christmas movie, it came out around
I
Christmas
enjoyed that
time.
one.
So, yeah, that one we need to talk about that. Oh, it happened. You disappeared. I'll have to wait a second for her to pop back on because she disappeared. But in the meanwhile, as you can see, my background has changed a little bit. I will probably be this way, be filming in that corner now. I'm not finished with it. I have to reorganize some stuff back here. I just where everything is in the shelf right now is arbitrary. I have some DVDs there, books over there. My masks are up here. And then I have some more books up here. And then wait, let me move my finger here. There is the Krite, and there's a gremlin there. You can't see him, but there is a African Zuni warrior doll right there. And then if you're wondering, Chucky and Annabelle are still way up there, but I don't know whether I'm going to take them out of their boxes or what I'm going to do with that. I got to see how everything will fit because I only have the 2 shelves there, so I have to figure out how to fit things. I might have to take some of the books and put them well, what I should do is take most of the books that I'm not rereading and put them on a bottom shelf, and it'll give me some more space, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to message her just to make sure her phone didn't die or anything. And oh, know what I can do? I'll play the trailer for When Evil Lurks while we're waiting for her to jump back on. Yes, Trilogy of Terror, JJ. Oh, I didn't mean to open that. I meant to open this. Here we go. When Evil Lurks is written by the other Damien. What is his name? Let me pull that up so I can tell you. He was the writer and director of Aterrado, which is also known as Terrified. When Evil Lurks. There it is. The writer director's name is Damien Rugna. That's one of the 3 Damiens. And I can't remember there was a 3rd Damien that put out a horror movie this year too, but I can't remember which movie it was. But here, I'll play the trailer for you. Will this go full screen? Come on, IMDb. It's got an ad.
Yeah, this one was a crazy movie.
The ad is almost over. There we go.
It's too low.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I loved that scene. Yeah, the black goat was.
I have mad fingerprints on my phone. Yeah, that's the scene with the lady walking down the street was also really, really creepy and gory.
Yeah.
This movie, there's gore and then there's also really disgustingness. Like this movie has that type of disgust that if you guys remember Seven, Seven had those kind of gross out elements. This has those type of gross. Oh, something's still playing. Here we go. This movie had some of those same gross out elements as Seven, but it was also had very, very creepy. There's like a underlying creepiness to it, and it's about a demon that can pretty much body hop. Yeah, not pretty much. It can. The demon can body hop, and it can also hop into animals. So
Hmm.
there's a scene with a dog that is very intense.
Oh,
Also,
I loved that one. That one's
yeah,
really.
that was yeah. The dog scene was very. The dog scene you could kind of guess it was gonna happen, but you didn't know it was gonna be to that extent, like that
Yeah.
that level. Like this Damien Rugna does not I'm telling you something about Damien's. Damien Leone and Damien Rugna do not shy away from gore. Like you're gonna see it, you're gonna see it up close, and we're gonna make sure that it looks as visceral and nasty as possible. I enjoy that with both of them. But I do think Damien Rugna's writing is a little bit better. These characters are more fleshed out. You give a damn about them, and the mythos of this type of demon gets fleshed because this is a different type of demon. It does not go by the same rules as like your regular exorcism type movie. It's not that at all. It's a whole different mythology, and it also takes place in a world where people recognize that possession is a thing that happens. And there's
Hmm.
no argument really, except for with the main character's ex-wife, because in the past he's had troubles with being consistent and reliable. So because she views him as an unreliable narrator, she does like if it was somebody else telling her this information, she would have listened. But because it's specifically him, she's like, you be on that BS all the time, so I can't go with what you're saying. Let me see here. Uh Tony Man says books go to the bottom, dolls take over. I was when you were gone, I was talking about my shelves in the back and how I have to reorganize them. Tony Man calls it Devil Town. Yes, he called When Evil Lurks Devil Town because it pretty much the devil kind of runs through the town. The scene in the school with those creepy kids was pretty good too. Tony Man says I'm guessing the black goat was the devil. It was I think the demon occupied a goat during one scene. And you see this by how that goat acts different from the other goats.
Yeah.
And there's also rules in this movie. The grandmother and also another elderly character tells them the rules for how to deal with these demons. That you don't harm them, you don't try to kill their host because all they're going to do is jump into another host. That there's a certain way that you have to get rid of them.
Hmm.
And of course, people, panic and freak out when they see the demon, so they don't ever listen to those rules.
Yeah,
Um,
like the beginning of the movie where they go to that woman's house and who was
mhm.
it? She said her son has been possessed for 10 years or so.
Yeah, her son was possessed for 10 years and she was keeping him on the bed and you see him in the trailer. That big huge pussy man that's laying in the bed is her son. And as long as he is, in a kind of my 600-pound life, I can't leave the bed type of state, they're semi-safe because the demon can't go anywhere because the body is occupied, can't move.
Hmm.
So she has this thing where she wants to end her son's suffering because he's suffering in there with the demon, but she also knows that if they harm it and it is able to jump bodies, it's gonna wreak havoc. And of
Yeah.
course, the police don't listen, and the landowner. Oh, there's also I think a social commentary subtext about um class and poverty because her and her son live on this plot of land that this other man owns. The man that had the goats, he owns that land, and he just didn't care about the rules. He just didn't want that creature in the house, so he was going to do all the wrong things that would
Oh yeah.
upset the demon because it's his land and he doesn't care about these old fashioned what did he call them? I think he called them like not fairy tales, like wives' tales, like something that would be the translated as old wives' tale, like or fable. Like he didn't believe the stuff, but his wife did. His pregnant wife did. And it's unfortunate what happened to her. Um, let's see here. Ron says, "Have either one of you seen Krampus or the Mean One?" I played the trailer for the Mean One earlier in our stream, and I've seen the Mean One. I don't think Kara's seen the Mean One.
No,
Kara, have you seen Krampus?
I usually try to watch it every year, except this year I missed out on it.
I've seen it one time when it first came out years ago, so I barely remember it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was just okay. Um,
I mean, as far as the Krampus movies, it's one of the better ones, but it's not a
oh yeah,
perfect.
because when you say Krampus Bronson, you mean the one that was like theatrically released, not there's a bunch of Tubi movies that are also Krampus. Those are not good. I think some of them are by like Wild Eye or
Yeah,
Asylum, like those. No, skip over those.
I'd
Tony
skip
says,
Asylum. I think they're the worst.
yeah,
Wild Eye's hit or miss.
yeah. Rules for horror movies. Did it start with stay on the path and avoid the moors? No, but I thought you saw When Evil Lurks. You called it Devil Town. You know the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that beginning scene where they take the son's body and they load him in the back of a truck, and then it's like poof,
Mm-hmm.
he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, they told you not to move him.
Yep. But that scene with the lady walking down the street, that was so creepy at what I won't spoil what she was doing as she was walking down the street.
Yeah, I
It
forgot
was
about that.
like, yeah, it was pretty sick. But like, it's horror. It's meant to be horrific. Like it's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one that we missed for
Not that I
Christmas
can
horror?
think of. I think that was about everything.
Mm. Oh, there is one. A Creature Was Stirring. Did you get to see that one?
All the creatures were stirring?
No, no, no. This is a new one. It's called A Creature Was Stirring. I'll
Oh
pull
no.
up the trailer.
No, I saw the other one.
Yeah, all the creatures were stirring. No, what? I'll play both. All the creatures were stirring. I saw that years ago when it came out.
Yeah.
I want to say I might have reviewed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't like
2018.
it.
Yeah, I thought it was just meh. This is all
Pretty
the
much.
creatures were stirring. Ah, got an ad. Let me try to move this here. Oh, come on, ad. Skip.
I got everything. Is dinner ready yet? All alone on Christmas Day.
You sure you don't want to wait in the van?
No, I'm going to wait by my car. You'll be fixing. Bye. Let's go. Someone will open a gift, and the next person can steal someone else's already opened gift.
That's a bullet.
Hey guys, don't you want this stuff?
Why would you think that's a star?
Yeah, I had gone into this not realizing it was an anthology film, so that first
Yeah.
story, I thought that was going to be the whole movie. I think it would have been a better movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an anthology, and the wraparound story where the workers together in a conference room.
Mm-hmm.
Now, A Creature Was Stirring. It stars the lady, I can't remember her name, but she was in what's it called? Not All of Us. It's like an NBC show with a family where the lady had triplets, but one of the triplets passed away, and then she found this little boy on a bus or something, and she adopted him, and so she ended up having triplets again with her husband.
Oh, wow.
I forgot. Somebody in the chat will know what TV show I'm talking about with the lady. When you see her.
Nice house. It's just you here.
Sometimes I gotta get myself.
Something is wrong here.
For degrees. My phone was keeping her from stepping away from me. Does that make you feel safe? Sweet girl, she is running out. In this house. You cannot pray away. No one's getting out of this suit.
You can't miss.
I just remember the name of the show. It's called This Is Us. It's the name of the show.
Hmm.
But that one, the trailer makes it look like it's more action packed than what it is. It's very dialogue heavy, and there's a reveal at the end of the movie. So you go in knowing that it's not like the trailer kind of misrepresented and made it look more action. Most of that action happens in like the last 20 minutes of the movie. It's largely a lot of dialogue, a lot of did I see that or is my mind playing tricks on me type of thing. But the acting was pretty good. I just thought that it would have been more suited for an episode of Tales from the Crypt than a full movie. Or maybe it might have come from like a can you guys hear the vacuum cleaner in the background? I hope not.
I don't hear.
But okay, good. Um yeah, I feel like there wasn't enough story there for a full-length movie and they kind of stretched it out. And what's the runtime on this? Let me see. Because I'm wondering if they could have just cut down the runtime. Because I felt like it dragged at points. Future was starting. There it is, 2023. Yeah, it was 96 minutes. They probably could have cut 20 minutes out of it easily and made it 76 minutes. I don't think it needed to be 96 minutes. And there's basically, for the majority of the movie, there's only 4 characters.
Hmm.
And it's a bottle film. Like 90% of it is, or 98% of it is in that house.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a super duper fan of bottle films. There's only a couple that I really like. One of them that I liked was oh gosh, what's the name of that movie? Don't Breathe. When they went to try to rob the house of a blind army veteran, and he kicks their asses. That one was pretty good. I like that one. Oh, also The Whale with Brandon Fraser. That one was really really good. And that took place in an apartment, not even a whole house, just an apartment. But it's based on a stage play, so I think that's why the dialogue works because it's basically you're watching the film version of a stage play. It was really good. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else.
No, not really. I mean, everything in that list was what I had been watching, other than just a bunch of other first time watches, which were like Hallmark movies or Lifetime movies and, just throwaway films.
Yes. And we can always come back and talk about I Am Shauna Ray, because that's another, because we do our
Yes.
documentary thing too.
Yeah, I liked that one.
Yeah. And she's an interesting person.
She
Especially
is.
when she gets to drinking and cursing. It just visually it looks hilarious. But we'll come back and talk about that. So I guess we'll wrap it up.
Sorry, the dogs went crazy.
It's all right. So I don't see. Oh wait, Tony Man says I know the rules, but there are a lot of movies with rules and people breaking them. Did it start with American Werewolf in London? Oh, I don't know if that's the first movie for people to break the rules. I really don't know. What would be the first movie of people being given horror rules and then breaking it?
I don't know. I never thought about that.
That's a good question to research, though. With that, I thank you for bearing with us, even though we just kind of winged it. That's what I would say. We winged it. But we wanted
Bloody
to
New
have
Year
one more
really
show
didn't have
before
too
the.
much in it.
Say it again, Kara.
Oh, I said the wrong movie. I said Bloody New Year, but I meant New Year's Evil really didn't have too much of a
Yeah,
show.
it didn't. Like when I thought of it for us to have a show, it seemed like a good idea until I watched and I'm like, this is not enough for us to talk about. There's not enough here for
No,
us to talk about for a whole show.
not really. I mean, even the kills, they were pretty basic. There was nothing really stand out about anything.
Slip My Fan asked if we saw Black Mass with Johnny Depp as James Whitey Bulger. He says, I thought it was a pretty good gangster biopic. I have not seen Black Mass, no.
I've only seen bits of it. I've never seen it all the way through. It's a long movie.
But with that, I'm going to thank everybody for coming through because I'm glad that we got to do one more show before the end of the year.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody for stopping by.
All right, have a good and safe New Year. And if I have one piece of advice for 2023, for all of your naysayers, the people who don't believe in you, fuck them.
Right?
There you go.
Good enough advice. Have a great New Year.
Yes.
Motion detected at the front door.
Alrighty. So I guess that'll be it for today. So as always, thank you for stopping by, and we will talk to you later.